When my teacher sat me down, he knew that I was helpless, and he knew the worst that people would try to take my freedom first. America's supposed to work. Yeah. Oh, love's not supposed to hurt. Oh, love's not supposed to hurt. Again. Oh, love's not supposed to hurt. Oh, love's not supposed to hurt. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Queenie. I know I haven't come on camera yet, but I will in a half a second. I am waiting for Mr. Timbo. I'm so excited that Leon is joining me for my birthday month. I'm super excited. He should be here just in a moment. That was actually a song by Leon, um, off of his Lovers and Fools album. One of my favorite songs. I love it. So, as we sit and wait for Leon, I hope by now you guys have decided to do a little bit of Googling or look him up. But Leon Timbo is a singer and songwriter, such a unique voice, rootsy, and it's a sound that incorporates equal measures of vintage soul, gospel, folk, R&B, funk, dance. I think he even said once that he would love to um, be known as like an Americana artist, which I thought that was pretty dope to hear him actually say that. Um, I keep checking to see if he's here, so give me a moment. I don't see him yet. Um, so anyway, Mr. Timbo, he has sang with Tyrese. I mean, some of you, if you looked him up, probably found him. He sang with Tyrese. Um, he's worked with Babyface. He's worked with R. Kelly. He's worked with so many others. Gospel singer. Well, I hate to say he was a gospel singer. I know he sang some amazing gospel worship songs. Um, One of his bios says that, he's a seasoned, well-traveled musician, widely regarded as a protege of Tyrese Gibson and Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. He tells the story of how he met Tyrese. It was at Pastor T.D. Jakes' church. Timbo counts Bill Withers. He's really a big Bill Withers and James Taylor fan, Andre Crouch and Donny Hathaway amongst his influences. Timbo he was raised in Jacksonville, but you will hear him always holler out Duval. To some church parents, of course, father and mother, both the pastors. Started singing around 16, playing acoustic guitar, I think, at around 20. This is just so tonight I'm interviewing him, sitting down with him, and I truly am a fan. And it's kind of funny because when he and I spoke earlier, I told him that I was like, kind of starstruck. It's weird. I've not been that way, and I've met quite a few people. But when you know of an artist that really sing directly to your spirit and they are alive, it's different. And the other reason why he's extremely special to me, his music, is my dad liked him. And I remember sharing a couple of his worship songs with my father. And my dad would say, that boy can sing. So to actually get an opportunity to talk with him tonight, joining me, like I said, for my birthday month, I am super stoked. So he should be here shortly. I will play one more song until he gets here. So I hope you guys enjoy. And I don't own the rights to this music. The artist is joining me. So hopefully nobody will pull, or Facebook won't penalize me. They'll just allow me to enjoy and truly, really enjoy a man that I think is an amazing artist. So give me a moment and I will have another song up for you by Mr. Leon Timbo. We are going to be having a conversation about love tonight. Here at the Relationship Zone, that's what we talk about: love, life, and all things relationships. And love seems to be the thread that keeps my conversations going and keeps me doing what I do. And so why not talk about love? And why not talk about with a person that sings about love all the time? Once you meet him, once you get a chance to hear him, you'll see why I am absolutely enamored by Leon Timbo. So one moment and I'll have something special for you.
Standing on right away of fire.
Right, guys, like I said, that is Leon singing ABBA. And he is actually in the building.
Oh, Jesus, you are. Yeah, yeah. Queenie, can you hear me okay? Hey, Queenie.
Leon, you there?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. I'm coming
Can
on
you see
camera.
me
Give me
okay?
like a half a second.
Take your time. I'm just checking. I was just checking in.
You so you checking in, but guess what? We're already live.
That's why I'm here.
Leon.
What's going on, Queenie?
You know what? You got it. I just went live on Facebook and
Good.
I was letting everyone know that you were on your way. I
That is
was
true.
trying to find it. It's on the relationship zone just in case you're looking for it. Funny thing is I went on and I told people all about you.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Already?
Already. I already
Woo.
told them that and I'll repeat this obviously because it's recorded.
Mm-mm-mm.
So Leon, welcome to the relationship zone.
I'm excited to be here. What's going on, family?
I'm so excited to have you here. I was sharing earlier that uh, I've interviewed a lot of people, but it's so different when you actually are a fan.
Uh-oh.
so
Uh-oh.
so so
I'm scared of the questions then.
I
Okay.
know no, you know what? I feel so I feel like I'm really like a fan right now. And I'm like, goodness, I'm starstruck, which is so bizarre for me. It's really weird. That's not normally how I am. So but here we are. and and I want to just quickly say to you, thank you so much for agreeing to celebrate my birthday month with me by
Happy birthday.
thank you so much
Yes, ma'am.
by granting me this, the Sagittarius, I'm all over the place, but this was one of the things I really wanted for my birthday, which was to bring you on during my month. So thank you for.
Wow, that means the world. I don't take that for granted. You could have brought anybody on. So I'm happy it worked out. I'm happy I had a chance to get in and yeah.
Yeah. So of course tonight we're going to be having a love conversation because here at the Relationship Zone, I love talking about love, life, and all things relationships. And
Indeed.
you sing about love
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
all the time.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
so, so with that being said, I was like, when I was trying to figure out like what would I talk to him about? You are an amazing singer and songwriter, and that's the obvious. Like I could totally talk about that. I could talk about what I know about you, which is, your love for I know you love singing praise and worship, but I know you also love singing songs that feed the soul. And in everything I've ever seen you do in the music space, it's always been centered around like this passion and love.
Sure.
So I want to talk to the man,
Mm-hmm.
Leon Timbo, about love and why that seems to be. I don't know for sure your driving force, but why does it seem to be your driving force?
It's it leans into the idea Love is probably the thing that I feel like I am both the closest to and the farthest away from. It feels like it can do no wrong,
Yeah.
and at the same time, it's so elusive in terms of figuring it out, having it all laid out, knowing what moves it's going to make next. Love isn't the thing that shows up and says, I'm going to do this every time this way. Love sometimes gives you opportunity to be alone and be strong. Sometimes love supports you and gives you something to lean on. Sometimes love exposes you. And what may seem to be embarrassing to you in certain seasons is preparation for a next season. Sometimes the failure of heartbreak is the setup for falling in love authentically. And so love is that thing that I find myself holding on to, but not completely figuring out. And so I think that lends to a lot of how I write and articulate. And ultimately, my higher power, Christ, God, is he defines himself by love. Like it defines itself by love. And that in and of itself is the only thing God has chosen to be defined by. And that's already a miracle of sorts for me, that the all-knowing, all-being, omnipresent, supreme being says, I am in whatever love is. And then whatever love isn't, that's not me. So that's why I tend to lean that way.
Love it. I love all of that. So to me, when I hear your music, I have so many things to share with you. When I hear your music, it's like a really nice, smoky, dark liquor.
Come on. We talking cognac or we
With
talking Randy, probably some Christian Brothers eggnog. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. I hear.
It's the good stuff. It's the good stuff. It's the good stuff. Which I have some good stuff here. But and incense and infusion. You look, I mean diffusers and it's infused with joy. It makes my heart feel good. I can listen to your, but there are a few artists that are that way, right? So and I made notes here, but all this stuff I already know. It's in my head, but I will pick up the notes to stay on to stick with this.
Let's go.
But it's smoky and it's blues and it's sassy and it's rootsy and I love all of it. And it's like I love Donny Hathaway and so, and I know that that's one that you love as well, and Bill Withers, so it makes sense, right? When I realized that I connected to your music, and I was trying to understand why, and then I realized who your influence was, and I was like, that's why I love this man's music. And I shared this earlier. I said, how often do you get an opportunity to interview someone that sings to your soul and they're still alive, right? You don't, right? Because most of the good artists, and this is no shade, but so many of those soulful artists are gone. And we do have a new generation of beautiful soulful musicians that are coming up, but it's not often, that we get this opportunity. So I'm so honored.
Thank you. I don't take that for granted. I tell you why I say that. It is so easy to go in this world, live in this world, and be misunderstood. Nobody owes you understanding. Yeah. They don't owe you, we got it, we get you, we get your crazy, we get your genius, whatever they define it by. And so when I come across like-minded, same spirit, equivalent DNA, however you want to speak it, I take a breath and I lean in the beautiful opportunity of being understood. If for a second, if for a moment, if for a season, because it's not, I think you mentioned Donny Hathaway. Donny, it's unfortunate that Donny Hathaway is more understood now than he was in his time. The world did not owe him an understanding, but here we are, super blessed and moved, and by his smoky interpretation of life and his specific, exquisite perspective on what love was and wasn't, and his theories on being Black and what that was. And, you know, people don't have to get it. So when you got it and you got somebody that understands, you take a breath and you say thank you. And that's what I'm doing.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. And you know, I know I almost got you in trouble on IG when
What'd you do?
When you were asking about those Christmas songs.
See, see, it's
and you sent me that message. You was like, you know,
listen here, you trying to make me mess with perfection. I can't.
I know.
Listen, I was thinking today about Otis Redding, and you know, these arms of mine. The funny thing is, Otis passed away at 27. Here, Otis was maybe somewhere around 24, 25 when he sung that, but you feel like Otis was good 64, sure. You know, because in that space, he gave so much life. And so when you talk about, you know, redoing certain songs, it's like when Will Ferrell was asked.
We're not even saying it here. Like,
listen, you ain't gonna get me in trouble. Right? It's called disrespectful. I'm not doing it.
But so I'm gonna say this though, in all honesty, you don't see you the way I see you, right? The artist. Yeah. So when I said it, trust me, it was no disrespect to the originator that we were speaking of.
Sure.
But you know, your music will stand the test of time. I've always been drawn to those types of artists, right? I was 8, 9 years old, you know, singing Donny Hathaway and Otis Redding, you know, at 8 and 9, like that was normal. And I'm, you know, I'm old now, but I'm just saying.
Come on, like wine, let's do it. Come on.
So those songs, you know, they resonated with me then. I had such an old soul, right? So, but I knew those songs could reach forward and backwards. And when I hear you sing, it's the same way. You have that thing that just will stay with us. And my granddaughter, it'll stay with her too. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly right. That's one of the core values of my life musically, creatively. I don't think I've gotten it right, especially when it comes to loving my kids and loving those, you know, you may ask them and they may say he did a bang up job. He's dope. He makes sure he shows up. In my mind, I don't quite think I completely got it right. And so with that, I tend to lean those, what I cannot do, I tend to lean in creatively so that when I'm no longer here, generations can understand what I meant to do. Like, I may have screwed it up in real time, but this is what I was going for. Yeah. This is how I was trying. That argument we had, that tension we built, and me trying to say, hey, maybe that boy isn't for you. Like, he left you over there and that wasn't okay. Like, that's a deal breaker. Like, I probably didn't say it right. I probably didn't use the right words or the right temperament. But maybe I can write a song that when I'm no longer here, your kids and their kids can understand grandpa meant it this way. And so it's kind of like my last resort if I screwed this whole thing up, you know.
So speaking of that, has there ever been a time that you did screw something up, right? Let's just talk about love and relationships. And you had to write a letter of apology or a poem of apology or even a song of apology.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think life is a song, and all that I get the opportunity or the gift to do is to articulate that song. But, you know, I'm a little weird. I feel like everyone's breathing, existing life is a vibration. Whether you're talking, whether you're not, you can gain a lot more from a person if they say nothing and you're in their presence than sometimes what they're trying to say. So my point is, in all of that, I feel like we're all writing those apologies. We're all writing those songs, and I'm honored and I'm gifted to be given the gift of, you know, putting it in songs so people can hear it. So yeah. Yeah, I've done it, and it don't always turn out the way you want it to. And some of the music I've written, I'm scared to hear. I'm scared to, like, I've written songs that I don't want to hear it because it hurts.
Oh
Um,
man.
a good friend of mine, he's a songwriter, and he described writing a song like looking in the stars, and when you see that star in the sky, you are seeing where that star was. That star is no longer there, but you get to see the beauty of it hanging up there as if that's where it still is. That's our gift to the world.
Yeah.
We can be past that. We can be healed. We can be processing it, but you get the opportunity to see the beauty of it. So sometimes when I go see the pain of where I've written some things from, it hurts. Even if everybody doesn't understand the story behind it, it hurts. That person understands it. And sometimes I regret it. It depends on what day of the week it is. I think if you really create something authentically, it's going to bother you. It's either going to make you smile or it's going to make you cry, but it's going to make you do something. It's just not going to leave you indifferent. And so sometimes I don't want to hear that stuff. Like, there's some stuff that I don't listen to
Yeah.
of my, and I may get in the car and somebody's like, play Don't Call. I don't want to hear Don't Call because I remember where it came from. Play Smile. I don't want to hear Smile because I remember the need I had in that space and the relationship crisis that birthed those pieces.
Oh my goodness. I can totally relate to that. As beautiful as the song may be, it takes you back to a time that maybe wasn't so beautiful, or sometimes even beauty hurts. The memory of it is like, oh, it was so
Yeah,
beautiful and it's so painful at the same
yeah.
time.
Goes back to relationships. Oftentimes you talk about smoky, you talk about dark, you talk about relaxing. And the best moments of experiencing love happens through pain. Not that love is pain, it's just that maybe my eyes aren't opened until something's broken.
Mm.
Maybe my eyes don't see it clearly until it affects a part of me that's disoriented. And so love sometimes uh, shows itself through shattered glasses. And so people get the benefit of the beauty of experiencing it, with peace, but a love that's not tried may not be love at all.
Yeah.
It may just be convenience, it
Yeah.
may just be, um, it may just be the best choice, the easiest way. But love that is tested and conditioned, formed, it hurts, but the tension always makes us compatible, and it makes us better versions of ourselves. And that is self-love, people love, God love, love, that process and relationship. What are we
Wow.
relating to?
That is so true. All right. So for those of you that's watching, we're talking about love tonight. So go ahead and share this out. Um, I am here talking to Leon Timbo, an amazing
Come on.
writer, singer. He's a and I haven't seen this, but I think he is a motivator. I think he inspires people.
Oh,
He helps many of us to believe. So we need to add that to his title because those are the things that
I'm gonna,
he is.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna tell my therapist you said so.
Please do. One other thing I want to share with you, another reason why I am enamored by you and your music, right? Why I really do absolutely love it, is my father passed away back in 2020, September 11th. But I shared your music with him a couple years ago, and my dad said, that boy can sing. He was like, that boy got something, that boy can sing. And yeah, so he heard you sing ABBA. He got a chance to hear you sing that, and he loved that song. But then I played like some in one of your older albums. I have them all written down. One of your older albums for him when I went to visit him in Philly, and he was like, "That boy got something." My dad was a singer, and so he really loved your music. So again, this is why all this makes sense now that I'm telling you this.
Yeah.
I just it was good to be able to share your music, with my father, and he's since gone. And then now I'm sitting here actually interviewing and talking with you. I wish he was here to see it because he'd tell
Oh,
you himself, boy, you can sing.
listen, for your papa to say that about me, you know, unlike us, he has had the experience of your Otis Reddings and your Sam Cooks and your Ray Charles, my
Yeah.
favorite.
Yes.
He's had the bit, and so when they even haphazardly say, "I can listen to this guy," it moves me because it means they put me in decent company,
Yeah.
and they, like you said, there's a lot of newer artists that are amazing as well. And I think it's because we're kind of dealing with a renaissance of understanding that. But my, being close to me, you know that my papa passed a couple of years back, and it sometimes I am angered by our love.
Yeah.
I'm angered by the fact that you're no longer here. You know, I do feel like people on some level choose to be or not to be, especially when they've become older, and sometimes you just give up. You're like, you know what, y'all can have this earth thing, you know,
I'm done.
and I'm done. You know, I
Yeah.
think there's something else that I rather, someplace else I'd rather be with. My
Right.
back doesn't hurt like this, and my arms don't
Right.
hurt like this,
Right.
and so my love with my papa, it leans into an anger, but
Mhm.
anger is sadness is big brother, and
Yeah.
so yeah, all of those things are not void of love.
Yeah.
All of those spaces, like if you are angry with someone, I dare say there's a relationship of love there because you don't value, you don't give a
Mm.
thing of space in you unless there's a value there. And
Yeah.
so these are all the beauties of what love offers when we are not in a fantasy about it.
Mhm.
Love presents itself like anger when you don't know how to control what you're feeling for an individual that may have treated you a certain way. So me and my dad's relationship hasn't always been great. And so I'm angry that you didn't have that last talk with me, man. You know, but that's what love does. It's the
Yeah.
beauty of what love is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Now I get that. I do. Last year up to this year, I suffered through grief with my father being gone. I had a beautiful relationship. This is why I said to you, I know you have this song, Love's Not Supposed to Hurt, which we're going to definitely get to that and talk about it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
But the love I have for my dad, we had all the good stuff, right? And all the good stuff I was left here to deal with. And
Mm.
it pained me because I didn't have the bad stuff. I didn't have the hatred. I didn't have the anger. I didn't have the arguments, the
Mm-mm.
memory of having an argument, the disagreement. I didn't have any of that. And it's not that we were perfect. It's just that we absolutely loved each other, like all of each other. And
Yeah.
so when he left, I was in this horrible space of grief and just hurting because all of the good memories were killing me.
Yeah. And they do.
They
That's
do.
the key of relationship, man. When you're away from someone you love, it's not the fact that you're upset with them that bothers you the most. It's the fact that those good moments have had an expiration and you're pissed that you enjoyed them so much and you'll never get them again. It's
Yeah.
the beauty of love. And so I get that over
Yeah.
and over.
Yeah. And everywhere I look, listen to songs, even, have this, it would bring me sadness, but it was because of the happiness that that it partnered with, So I think that's the interesting thing about love. And I think that we'll never 100% understand it. I believe that we must just lean into it and respect it.
Yeah. The moment you figured love out, if somebody told you they figured love out, run, run. They have a new day coming, and you don't want to be around when it happens because love defines itself by itself. And you don't really know what love is trying to show you or teach you until your last day breathing, you know? Sometimes love is seeing your son in jail and not bailing them out. Sometimes love is not paying your cousin's rent. Sometimes love is not calling your ex back up when you
Ooh.
really miss what they felt like.
Ooh.
Sometimes loving them is letting them go and
Mm-hmm.
hurting in silence without manipulating them back into your space.
Yeah, that part.
So it's that,
Yeah,
definitely.
that part, without manipulating them back into the space for yourself.
For your
Yeah,
selfishness, yeah.
yeah, that's exactly what love sometimes is. You're correct. All right, so I got to get to these questions.
Let's go.
I'm going to attempt to go through this.
Okay.
Obviously, did your introduction and without you even being present, but more so, I wanted to talk or at least acknowledge the fact that I know that you have sang with Babyface and Tyrese and so many other artists.
Yeah.
How does that feel? This guy from Duval.
Ooh, yeah, you got it. You got it. You know what you're talking about.
I
You know what
know,
you're
I
talking
know.
about.
But how does it feel being this guy from Duval City, country, whichever one you want to call it? Because I know how you feel about Duval. But how do you know, how does that guy get this opportunity to do something that's so amazing that he obviously is built for, but with talents like Babyface and Tyrese and a few others?
I I gotta say, before there was Babyface, before there was Tyrese, there was for me Glenn Jones. Glenn Jones is a Duval County, Jacksonville, Florida native. I've been searching. So before I jump on over into the baby faces of the 90s and
Yeah.
Tyrese's of the 2000s and late 90s, it was the fact that there was somebody from my hometown that did it. And because my father was a pastor, gospel was tied into
Yeah.
the core of who I was, but I never really completely fit in that space because I tend to be a thinker and I tend to feel like love was, I'll say it this way. Scripture says the greatest commandment is not don't lie, there's adultery. The greatest commandment is not any of that. The greatest commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself
Mhm.
and love God. Now, it says the second is likened to the first, which means love God with everything and then love people the way he loves people. That's it. These other additives are just that. Like, who wants lemonade with additives? It's simply loving people purely. Now, the reason I mentioned that is being in the room with those giants. It was when Kenny became a child. Babyface became a child.
Yeah.
He wrote like he had never won 20 something Grammys.
Wow.
It was when Tyrese took the time out to show me how to sing in the studio, because being in church, we're live singers, but there's a way to create almost an alchemy to create what was on stage in the studio, because the studio can be such a cold space. And so the fact that they took time was because you're never as good as your last thing. It's always, what are you doing next? And it was
Yeah.
through that gift that I was given the opportunity to be in those spaces. No, I didn't think I deserved any of it. I didn't. But I understood why I was there. And it's because in the core of every one of those individuals I mentioned is somebody who's trying to do it again. Love makes you try to do it again. Um, yeah, and that's what the biggest amazement was, uh, seeing them win, sit back, enjoy it, and say, can we get on that ride again? Let's do it again. It's your turn. And that's why I was moved. And even Kels and all of those things. I mean, I'm not ashamed to. Those people that have been close to me have just been close to me. Really, life moves at the speed of relationships. And if you're ashamed of some of your relationships, I question if they were ever relationships at all.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I totally get that. I think we're blessed oftentimes to connect with people, to allow people to cross our paths or we cross their paths.
Absolutely.
It's all part of our journey. We don't have to stay anywhere, but it's all part of our journey. We're moving forward. So I think it's great to acknowledge how we came to be. And it's beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. So you, a Kojic man. Yeah, I know.
Ooh, you can't join in, you got to be born in. What you talking about?
Listen, one of my favorite Kojic pastors was G.E. Patterson. So,
well, listen, you going straight to Memphis. What you talking?
Come on now.
From the Bourbon to G.E. Patterson. Here we go.
Hey, let me tell you, man. I know about that Kojic life. Back when I was right. I love me some G.E. Patterson. So being coming up through a Kojic ministry and background, mom, dad, I think both pastors, Duval, you are a singer and you're an acoustic guitar player. How did that happen? And not only how did it happen, but how did you find a space in a Kojic church, or did you, for an acoustic guitar?
The beauty of the Church of God in Christ was not the fact that we had it all together. It was the fact that you were what you felt. If I can lead, if Kojic taught me anything, it's got to be real. It's got to be. That's why the slogan is you got to be born in, you can't join in. Like, it's not something that you put on and take off. It's something that you become authentically. And it taught me that. Now, me playing the guitar was not something I saw in Kojic. I mean, there were people prior to me, Rosetta Thorpe and others, who took religious music and the guitar, but I didn't see it in my lifespan in that beginning stage. It was Bill Withers, it was James Taylor, and I honestly did not fit creatively in those Kojic spaces. I fit there more now than I did back then when I was really rearing that space. But because Kojic's expression wasn't about music, we did music, but it wasn't about music. It was about authenticity. Right. It was about, you never left the Kojic service the same way you came. It was about, it had to be real. You had to connect with it, and you had to leave with something different. You didn't let go until you became a better version of who you were in that space. And so that's how it cultivated me. And sometimes rejection is your greatest friend, because being rejected from the wrong thing is the greatest gift anybody could ever give you. Yeah. The beauty of no, the beauty of you don't fit, the beauty of we don't have room for you, the beauty of those spaces, it leaves a vacancy in your heart for the right thing to become. And so for me, the beauty of Kojic was that I didn't fit. The beauty of Kojic was that I understood that behind the musical expressions that denomination and that, faith-based expression offered, it told me, hey, we know who we are. We know you're something different. And as I evolved, I was able to, significantly realize the beauty in that space.
Isn't it the beauty of, the rejection? It leaves you with an opportunity to find acceptance. Right. In the right place. Right. So there's something beautiful about rejection. I've dealt with rejection a lot in my day. And when we talk about love, a friend of mine was saying, Queenie, do you shoot your shot? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And I've been rejected quite a bit, shooting my darn shot, but it has also been a blessing for the rejection to come, because some of the things I thought I wanted, I absolutely didn't need. So I was protected from those things.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for those times I shot my shot and y'all shot me down. I appreciate you. Bless you.
That's a great. The funny thing is, I learned more from the rejection than I ever did from the acceptance. It's almost like when you make a poster, you make a presentation, it's not the people that just kind of give you the hearts and the fires. It's the person that questions if the authenticity of what you just did is that you focus on, that you're like, what did I miss? I learned more from seeing what I missed than I ever did from people saying, oh man, you're doing it perfect, you're good. Yeah. So I'm grateful for the rejection because it offered me an opportunity to re-examine. I mean, even if you stumbled on to success, you're never questioning what you did to make it successful. You are just trying to do it again. But you fail at something. If you fail at something, there's something that happens to you that makes you examine it from A to Z. From the door to the front to the back, you're like, what did I do to miss it? And that greatest teacher, that the gift of rejection gives you the opportunity to become a better version of you. And that's what love does. Love is built in tension. Where there is no tension, there is no love. It's not worth fighting for, then it's not worth obtaining. If it's not worth being, rejected for, then it's not worth having. And so that's the beauty of love. That's the gift of rejection. That is the gift of no. It leaves you vacant for the right thing.
Woo, I love that. Now, for those that are listening, we are not saying go out there and be looking for your nose, be looking for you, because we do want some open doors. But
I'm gonna say, no, listen, I'm serious. I'm gonna say it. Queenie not saying it.
Queenie not saying
it. I'm saying
there's
it.
so much to garner from the no, and there's so much to garner from the rejection.
It hurts.
Yes, I agree.
Hurts. I'm saying look for it. I'm saying
this is the songwriter talking, y'all. He's saying go look for this now.
I'm saying to look for it because too many people, social media has taught us to give a heart and move on. And people, unfortunately, feel like they're at a place that they really aren't because nobody's loved them enough to say no. Nobody's loved them enough to say, hey, it's not time yet. You're not ready yet. I don't feel it yet. And so they're in spaces with mindsets that are going backwards. And so I say, find where the no's are. Find where the cracks are, find where your weaknesses are. If you got hair, if you're blessed to have hair, unlike myself, if you're blessed to have hair, you don't have to worry about the shape of your head. But when you're bald headed like me, you want to know, is it crooked? Is it curved? It's good. It's when it's gone. It's when it's gone that you're able to examine what you're missing. And sometimes we are so we tend to lean more into the approval of people than the rejection of people. But I'm saying, Queenie's not, but I'm saying lean more into who didn't show up and find out why they didn't show up. It could have possibly not been for you, but it could also be giving you a key into what you're missing and providing them what they need to show up. So find your no.
I do like that.
You're welcome.
All right, come on. Okay, I'm trying to get through it. We could have just talked. I don't think I even need these, but
you're doing good. You're doing good. You're on card 2 of 20. It's great.
I know. Isn't that crazy? You do know I'm on card 2 for real. All right, but I've kind of already gotten through this. Let's talk about I've already talked to you about your vibe, right? You have this like beautiful 70s vibe. Mm-hmm. And I already shared with you that your sound to me is timeless. So I think I'm actually on card number 3. We can get it gritty now. So I feel pretty good. All right. Let's talk about the albums. I'm going to name them out. I'm going to name an album, and you're going to tell me what inspired you. Wow. So I know. Okay. So and I just wrote down 4 that I love. And I think I don't know how many you have. How many albums do you have? I feel horrible right now.
I've forgotten. I can't think. I'm trying to wait on the question.
I don't feel so bad then.
Don't feel bad. Because there were albums before the albums. There were albums nobody will ever know about. And they weren't for people to know. They were just for me to get to the next step. So keep going. I'm sorry.
All right, cool. Okay, Invitation to Worship. I think you have 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that come about? And is this, I know beautiful music, but how does one like yourself, how did you come to create Invitation to Worship 1 and 2?
I never wanted to do a gospel album. I never wanted to do a worship album, but I did want the expression of that to be clear. And so the idea was to create a collective of like-minded people who do what I do in that space, in that faith-based space, and to make it authentic and to give and to kind of highlight all of us, in that space. I didn't want it to be like Leon Timbo led as much as I wanted it to be a platform for, others to come through and kind of be launched. And so my motivation and inspiration was other people, actually, other worship leaders and people that I feel didn't get their shine, and I remember the day where I didn't get my shine, and I wanted to, because I had the means to create a platform, I did that. And I was that's where that came from. So yeah.
Okay. So that reminds me a bit like and again, so I don't know who's going to watch this, and it's no shade, kind of like what Elevation Worship has created.
Yeah.
Beautiful collection of amazing artists, just on one accord, singing songs of worship, and it's a whole experience. And I think that's what this album
even more specifically, Maverick City is is that collective with diversity.
Yes.
Personally, I feel like that's one thing that the initial worship collectives did not have completely. And because I am blackity black, I do feel like what the process of how we hear music, how we pray, how we articulate this God-filled space is unique to us, but everyone can benefit from it. I think that's what these new collectives, and that was the heart behind Northern Lights United. But there was the tension for me was still being Leon Timbo and doing the love music and doing the Americana and doing the R&B and doing the 70s stuff, right? But still having a heart, because I was clear on the multifaceted space that I encompass, but unfortunately, the genre and the world at large, not really the world, people got it. I don't think the industry completely got it, and that there it is. Love doesn't have to be understood. No one owes you an understanding. That's not a prerequisite for you to move forward. People getting it is not a prerequisite for you to move forward. So when I see those guys, Elevation, Maverick City, there's an echo. Yeah. And I feel like they caught the echo, like in that season, I caught the echo. And that's what the Invitation to Worship was.
All right, perfect. Okay. Invitation to Love 1 and 2.
I think people needed the balance of the two. We're not Sunday morning people, even people of faith. Like, we can talk about, smoking, drinking, all of that stuff. We can talk about taboos, and we can talk about, I'm not getting into that as much as I'm saying the same lessons you need on Sunday to prepare you for the week may be different from the lessons you need on Monday to prepare you for the relationship, to prepare you for the problem, the issue. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. This isn't something somebody told me. This is specifically in scripture. It says, love the Lord with all your heart, mind, soul. And then it says, and the second is like the first. Love your neighbor as yourself, which means there are songs that I'm singing to people, and me singing those songs authentically to people is as much worship as me singing to God, because not me, but scripture said it's like the first. So me properly and authentically giving you relationship music is no different than me giving worship music on Sunday morning or any other time of the week. I may not be here when the world catches up on that truth, but that is the truth and the core value that I live by. How I love people is a direct reflection of how I love God, whether people realize it or not. I didn't make it up. I just don't think people are clear on it quite yet.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. All right. What's love all about?
Ooh, what's love all about costs me the most.
Ooh, really?
Time, heartache, pain, I bled the most on that album. I think it's probably the heaviest album of my discography because it took me 6 years for
Wow.
that album. And in those 6 years, if you listen to the album, you'll hear the intricacies of um, intentionality in every last one of those songs, more than any of my other albums. Now, it's not that the other albums aren't amazing or whatever you may define them as. It's just as a solid space, What Love's All About costs me the most. I don't want to spend that much again. And
Yeah.
I'm not talking money. I'm talking life. I'm talking blood.
Yeah.
I'm talking time. I'm talking pain. I'm talking relationship. To sit on an album that long and have people do 2 and 3 albums in that particular tenure, right, breaks your heart. And so I had to make sure that whatever was released with myself and Mano Haynes was something that I had no doubts about. And so there's not a part of that album that I regret.
Wow. You know, it's interesting you said that well, I didn't know it was a full 6 years. I thought it was about 3 or 4, and with that being said, to me, that album, and I mean, I'm kind of a fan. That album was like albums of back in the day, albums of old. Those
Yeah.
artists took a long time sometimes to write their albums or for songs to truly come to completion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you follow some of the artists, you kind of know that that's what happened to some. It would take them a long time to write. It was pure writing and pure life being written out in stanzas, and it was pure. And so when I hear you say that, I can only imagine what your journey was. But it reminds me of what we were able to get from amazing artists from before. And so I think that's the reason why this album is beautiful.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you. Marvin Gaye, in studying the life of Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder, people don't realize after what's going on, so funny that I have it here. After what's going on, Marvin Gaye for 9 years went into a depression. Yeah. Prior to what's going on, Marvin Gaye was in a depression. I mean, you can argue the fact that most of his life was spent in depression.
Yeah.
He did sexual healing at the age of 43, 44, whereas almost 14 years prior, he did what's going on. Now, in between that was failure after failure after failure after failure. Losing Tammy Terrell, having to reinvent himself, letting his brother go to the war. My point is, you're exactly right. And so, we see the highlights of people's lives, but we don't realize the tenured pain that birthed those moments. And I just happen to feel like that the days that he did not have a hit were as important to me as the ones that he did. Yeah. Oh, and so that way I'm not alone in my processes of making, great, not great, but honest music. Just when it leaves my hands, I want to believe everything that it says. And I'm not the first to do it.
Wow. Well, it's amazing how you do it. I love it.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to get to now my newly favorite and most evolved, Lovers and Fools. That is probably the album that I really hear the Americana sound. Yeah. I love your evolution, and I can hear it. And I've cried. Love's Not Supposed to Hurt. I've cried over so many different songs I've heard you sing, and I'll hear him and I'm like, what in the world? This man
Oh, it hurts. Yeah.
So, Lover Than Fools is probably one, and probably will not, I don't know if it will be my most favorite of, what you create. You have a long future
We're working right now. Yeah. Yeah.
ahead, but it's such a rich album. So can you tell me what inspired you on
You
this?
know, this space has always been with me. I can name songs that had that sound, and even if you go on Spotify, I thought one day let me just make a playlist of the songs that are specifically Americana sounding. And Americana is essentially the sound that was birthed in America. So classic R&B, soul, jazz, blues. These are all Americana art forms for people who may not know. And so songs like Don't Call was Americana driven. Prior to me fully stepping into this space, when I was still, in the classic R&B space, Yes, I Love You, Still Love You on the What Love's All About album, that leans into Americana. Forever on the What Love's All About album leans into Americana. Obviously, Love's Not Supposed to Hurt. So I've been in that space throughout, but I've just not fully evolved until this Lovers and Fools album. I've given myself permission to be both soulful. Even in my interviews with Americana, periodicals, radio, magazines, or whatever, I've had the opportunity to expand their space, because for a long time it was one culture, and it was kind of the step cousin to country. When in reality, country is a Black art form. Cowboy is a Black expression. To be specific, Caucasian people were cowhands. The term, we were boy everything, and we were also cowboys. And so kind of owning the space and redefining it for people who thought they understood what the definition was, but doing it in a way that's honoring. Not saying that they're not wrong, they're just not all the way right. And so with grace, I'm able to articulate, we're from Africa, we're very much American. We're very much birthed in the blood, sweat, and tears of this country. And the art forms and the beauty of our struggle has created a sound that cannot be duplicated and should be celebrated. And so that's why the evolution. And if I might say, when I was playing guitar so many years ago, there wasn't anybody else in gospel music playing acoustic guitar. And then, so I know what it feels like to be in a space, of color. So I know what it feels like to be in a space and to feel like the only one. And I find myself somewhat that way now, but it's my most honest self. And when I'm no longer here, I want people to know that I was always that. I was always transparent, even if it broke my heart telling the story. And most times it did,
Wow. Well, let's talk about a little bit of heartbreak.
Uh-oh.
All right. Have you, and this is, we already know, but have you ever experienced heartbreak? And which one of your ballads do you care to share that you may have written about that heartbreak? Which one of your ballads would you care to share with us tonight?
Most of my heartbreak was caused by me, and me receiving the results of my actions, whether I missed a thing or I didn't value a thing. And so Lost, I think, will be the first to come to my head. Probably because Lovers and Fools is the most recent album, but I lost my friend in the middle of whether she stay or whether she go. I didn't know it was snowing in summer and I didn't know eyes could chill the soul. And the second verse says, I lost my friend in the middle of a gamble. I played the hand I was supposed to fold. So the idea is my heartbreak of no longer having uh, was ultimately because I didn't value enough to keep. So yeah.
Oh, I want to hug you. Because listen, I know I know how that is. Like, I know what that's like. So why, this is not on the card, but why do we do that? You know, why do you
We
think we take people and experiences and opportunities for granted, whether it's willingly or not, whether it's consciously or not? Why do you think that that's part of our love story?
You ever bought a car or wore a dress and you saw it at the party on somebody else, or you saw somebody else driving that same car? The mind does something that it kind of reveals that thing that you have when you get it. Now that the same amount of people were driving your car prior to you driving it, but it didn't click that it was that color until you owned it.
Yeah.
The same way we tend to not value a thing until it's no longer there on some level. And it's because we've spent most of our time valuing other things that were no longer there. So here we are valuing the things that we don't have and devaluing the thing that we do. And then when that thing that we do have leaves, we tend to put them into the category of the thing we don't have anymore, of which we value more now. So it's a cycle, but it's human nature.
Yeah.
And it happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
And I think the tension of it sometimes reveals where you were with it, the one that got away, the one that there's no worse feeling than, and I've experienced this too, being in love with the person who's not in love with you until they're in love with you and you're no longer in love with them. They'll be there. You know, it's that thing that nobody's wrong. Like nobody's the villain. It is just a thing that is. And then another thing is the reality when you love someone, it may never go away. And your pain is knowing that you'll forever love them but never have them.
Never have them.
And that is both the blessing and curse of what they've given you as a gift in your life. And so nobody's the villain. I want to be specific about this. It's not right or wrong as much as it is the balance of life. Yeah.
Oh, you preach. So you're preaching to me because listen, oftentimes I post, I have obviously the podcast and I talk about these things because I do appreciate and respect the fact that some loves will not last, right? Some loves will be eternal. Sometimes the people that love you, you do not have either the capacity or the desire to love them in that manner.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you don't care. It just means that there's levels to this,
Yeah.
you know, and the same thing that you give to others, you can believe it will come back your way. So I think it's important that we are able to really know who we are, right? Know exactly who we are so that whenever we show up in a relationship and whenever we leave that relationship, we are solid as to what we gave, what we took, what we can learn from that experience. And you're right, it's not.
You're a lot better than me. You are clearly and obviously a lot better at relationships than me. I'm telling
What
you.
do
That's
you
what.
mean? No,
That's why you got the relationship.
Leon, I ethically fail at relationships, right?
No, but you sound like a winner. So you.
No. Listen, sweetie, I epically fail at relationships, but I can tell you this because I am an observer of relationships. I observe myself and I really observe others. I believe in love to no end. but I don't know for sure if all of us can be great companions.
And that's where you made a couple of statements that really, I was like, oh, I fell there. I fell there. And it was when you said you got to know what you gave a relationship and what you took from a relationship.
Did I say it like that, Leon?
What you gave a relationship and what you took from a relationship, you gotta know.
Baby, that's what I do now.
I was like, sheesh, I gotta know. I ain't never knew. My thing is, the problem for me was I didn't know what I was giving. I know what I was trying to give, but I don't know exactly what I was giving. Because you know what I found myself? I found myself giving in spaces people weren't empty. And when you give in a space where a person's not empty, you can give 100%. But baby, if I'm not empty in that space, it's zero to me. Right. You can cook every night, but if I'm a chef, I might not need you to. Right. So you can leave the relationship saying, I cooked every night. And they're like, but I own a restaurant. What I needed you to do was just come home.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't come home, but I could cook. So here we are, not knowing what we gave, not knowing what we took. And that's kind of the basket I'm in. I'm like, I just realized that at times I can give, or someone can give a relationship 100% of something that's not needed or valued by the other person. That's why I said nobody's the villain here. As much as you're good at driving, but the other person owns a jet. So you're like, I need to get to California. You're like, give me 4 days, I'll drive you there. No, boo, I can fly. But I gave you 4 days. No, I don't need 4 days. I need you to get in this jet. I can't get in the jet. I'm afraid of flying. So who's right? Who's wrong? How do you fit in that space? It's compatibility is the choice of denial. Compatibility is the choice of saying, I'll deny me to be in a place that's uncomfortable for me, for you. And you deny you to be in a place that's comfortable for me. And we communicate the fact that that's what I'm doing and I'm trying really hard with it, as opposed to assuming this is the thing that the other person needs. That's kind of the basket I've seen and I've experienced myself. Compatibility is who's going to be selfish and who's going to be in denial. You've seen the relationships. You got somebody who's given 100% and somebody who's given nothing. It's never 100, 100. It's never 100, 100. Either we're going to New Jersey for your job and I'm going to drive Uber, or we're going to California for my job and you're going to be a stay-at-home mom. We just don't know. Compatibility is selflessness. Nobody's compatible. It's just, how much are you willing to give to be in the space and the world of the person you say you love? So yeah, that was babble, but that's what I feel.
Now, Leon, we got to unpack this. Now, this was not supposed to be in the show. But I want to unpack this just for one moment, right? For one thing, thank you, Mike, for that compliment. Mike Saxby said that you are a classy brother. He said he liked the way that you talk about the part of you, the part that you played in the heartbreak. So thank you, Mike.
Thanks,
it's a big thing when you start looking at yourself. Introspective, introspective looks are very, very important, to, I believe, to self-growth. All right, so let's just talk about this for a second. Now, listen, when you say like you were in a space where you didn't know, right? Okay, so how old are you? You want to use your fingers? You want to text it to me, or you want to tell it?
Listen, I could say it this way. I have daughters in their 20s.
Okay. So we may be close to the same age, or, no, I'm just kidding.
or I had a sperm count at the age of 4.
I don't want to. You started really early. So I'm a 70-something baby, right? I was born in the 70s. Are you somewhere around the same time? Okay. So we're good. All right. So with that being said, I've lived long enough and had amazing relationships. But what I learned in a previous job I had years and years ago, I became a trainer. And in that training position, I became certified in teaching classes classes and different workshops for couples. Now, go figure. I had a great failed
You
marriage.
got it. I don't want it. Keep going.
I had a great failed marriage, and I'm thinking like, why am I chosen for this? But I look back and I know why I was chosen for it, right? Because I really love to observe behaviors, humans, right? How we interact. Why do we do certain things? How do these things happen? How do we fail? How do we get locked up? How do we achieve? You know, all these things I was very, very curious about, to include relationships. And I had an opportunity to learn about what many of us already know now, to be the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. And so when you say that you don't know, I think this is why it's so very important for whenever we're out here pursuing love, or whenever we're out here just pursuing knowing ourselves, right? We need to know what makes us tick. We also need to know how we love, so that when you find a person, if I'm not, so by nature, my love language, first 2, because we're made up of all 5, or 6, but my first 2 is quality time and personal touch. I'm such a hugger. I'm a warm person. That's how I receive love. That's how you can show me that you care, right? But how I give love is totally different. I give love by doing things for you. I give love by cooking for you, right? I give love by making sure that your cleaners are picked up. I give love by saying, hey, baby, had a hard day. I got something for you. I want to take you somewhere. I give love by showing you acts of service, by doing things for you, and by affirming you, right? That is how I give, but that's not how I receive. You can affirm me all day and I'm probably over it. I'm like, please don't keep telling me that I'm awesome, right? I don't want to hear that. You know, I need a hug. So I think it's important that we know. That's why I said that. Like, how did I show up? And when you hit it on the head, like you can give 100% in a direction that the person absolutely didn't need. And you feel exhausted. But the truth is, if you just have a conversation, baby, how do you receive love? And if they don't know what that means, then take my class, or let's really begin to unpack what love feels like. You know what I mean? Like if that woman or your man, whoever it is that's watching, says, well, I love it whenever you rub my shoulders. Likely one of the 2 things, either it's acts of service or they love physical touch. But you got to hear that, and you got to be willing to do that. So when we say like, there's no 100%, compatibility. Well, it's intentionality, right? I got to be willing to love you the way you need to be loved, even if it makes me sacrifice my normal way of loving people, which would be, acts of service. But if what you really, really need is me to get you gifts, then I need to be, if I choose you, then I need to be more intentional about making sure that I'm loving you the way you need to be loved.
Exactly. Yes, ma'am.
So that's my spill on that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Listen, I'm so happy. Listen, everybody, Queenie got the class. I ain't got no class. My class is I'm over here in the corner with all the men who screw up. I'm over here writing my little love songs about where I missed it and what love is. I think the tension of being in a relationship with an individual is the beauty of being in a relationship with an individual. We tend to run from tension, even in faith religions, like Jesus will get you out. If you prayer changes things. I tend to believe, because I'm grown, Jesus will let you stay in to make you better, and prayer changes you. I think sometimes your world doesn't need to change. How you see your world needs to change. Because you can have the best thing in the world in your home and miss it because you just have the wrong glasses on. And so I think selflessness, communication, if I had core values to what love is, I value trust over love. This is just a season I'm in.
Yeah.
Why do I value trust over love? Because there are people that I love that I don't trust.
Ooh. But if
I
know that.
But if I trust you, you best believe I love you. I think when scripture talks about charity, love being the greatest of all 3, we miss the context of scripture. But if you was to ask Leon Timbo, and no, I ain't asked nobody else this, and I'm just saying this right here, relationship zone, I value trust over love. Because I can love you walking away.
You better know it.
I trust you.
Yeah.
And it's together.
Yeah.
And I can turn my back on you and know without a shadow of a doubt, your love, your interpreted love won't stab me in it. So.
Ooh, Leon, I'm gonna bring you on and teach a class with me, honey. Trust over
ain't got no
love.
classes. Ain't got no classes.
Trust over love. I love that. I mean, and I'm going to let that sink in. I'll probably send you a message about it. Like once it really sits with me, because I love that. And I get that. I think there's a part of me that feel that as well. Right. Because I can love you and I can walk away because I didn't trust you.
Because I didn't trust you.
Yeah.
So by that, the context of that gives trust a bit more weight.
Yeah.
Then love is universal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what makes love greater is that when it's all said and done, love is what we're left with. Mm-hmm. Trust doesn't have the width that love covers. Mm-hmm. Got it. Yeah. When it comes to intimate relationship, trust triumphs and trumps every time. I don't want to have to look through your phone to love you. I don't want to have to wonder why it took you 30 more minutes to come home.
You better tell it.
To love you.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to track your situation at work and have certain people that I call to see if you've left yet to love you. So these things have context, you know?
Yeah. And let's just talk about trust right now, right?
Uh-oh.
and I know you have to go because we talked about, you have some things to get to. But in trust, I mean, have you yourself been in a situation where you couldn't trust your partner, or have you had to defend your loyalty to a partner?
If I'm sure that the other exists. Mm-hmm. I think for the most part, women are taught to trust. Men are taught to conquer. Mm. And we're taught, this isn't mine. I was thinking about coming to America. This is not mine, this is Nietzsche's. No. Men are taught to conquer. Women are taught to trust. And it's from our upbringing. And it's not necessarily what our parents tell us. It's by what mom leans into and withdraws from. When we see dad do certain things and mom ignores it, and we know, we grow up and we understand the context of what's going on. So what mom tends to lean into in terms of ignoring and not addressing, either women grow up to make sure they don't marry a person like that, or they grow up to make sure that they acknowledge the value in a person that shows up well. And so I think most times have been me needing to be trusted because I wasn't trustworthy. My problem is that I don't know how to say no. And then living in this culture of so many people needing some version of you to show up in, and being taught that conquering, and I'm not specifically talking about a certain area, but there's I have experienced a lot more women who need to have something to trust than I've experienced men who need a woman to trust. So this is my, this isn't the world. This is just what I've seen. And I've fallen into that as well. So,
I think women would probably agree. I think having someone to trust gives you a sense of stability, right? You just want to know that person's going to be there, consistent, solid, and whatever they say, whatever they, you can trust. That's, of course, that is great. I mean, it's not, it doesn't happen in the real world. I wish it did. Because you, like you were saying, like, you don't want to have to wonder or question. And And it's not about control or any of those things. It's just about when things just don't add up, things don't look right, right? Then discernment kicks in. It's like, wait a minute, I don't know if I can even trust you, like what you're saying, or why am I even in this space? So I cannot I can love a person like that, but I can't stay connected to them. I can't. And it's unfortunate.
I think trust values higher.
Listening to you and talking with you, I can definitely agree. I have a singles conversation this coming Friday, and I'm going to actually bring this up to see if, where trust.
Tell them I said hello. Tell them.
I will. Yeah, we're doing a little happy hour. It's probably about a good, I don't know, 5, 6, 7. I don't know. It's a few of us, but single and over 40, and what are the things that matter most? And I think trust is really a thing, especially now. And a lot of us have amazing careers, amazing jobs, and we do a lot of amazing things. We connect to a lot of amazing people. And I think that puts a little more strain on the trust as well,
Mm-hmm.
And you an artist, and some people are beautiful, and how can it, trust is a big thing now that you're talking about it.
Yeah, trust is a big thing. And the reality is, for women will forgive a lot of other stuff if they got trust.
Yeah.
Women will forgive a stink man if she can trust him. Let me bathe you. Let me get you together.
True.
Because I know you're gonna stay together. You know what I mean? But I don't want no smell good cute snake. I don't want muscles and wonderment. You good in bed, but I don't trust you to stay there.
Leon,
so the idea of trust is the core value. I think we really do need to discuss more. I love you, but I'm gonna love you and walk away, because I don't to have me, there's a certain level of trust that I need to have in you. And if you don't exceed that level of trust, I don't know if I love myself and can stay here. So yeah, it's definitely something. You have your conversations in your classes, and I'm gonna write my songs, and we'll be okay.
We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. Your songs get me through. I love your music. I say that, and I love you. I love it. So in the songs, I think I can relate to, because I've been through some of the things, and that's probably why I love your music so much. I mean, yeah, I love ABBA. That's such, you did such a great job on that song, but you love songs. And I love blues. I love the blues and things like that. And the one thing about blues, the blues sing down to your heart, to your dirty soul. You know what I'm saying? And you can give us the business with that. And so when I hear it, I mean, I'm like, dang, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm scared to share the song, because people might think like, but you go there on your music, and you sing to the matters of the heart. And I love that.
And the things that I can't figure out, the things that it's not my job to figure out. That's why loving God is fully essential, because it's in those places that I don't know where I stand or where I fall. Yeah. I don't know why I'm not trustworthy. I don't, that part of the relationship zone, it kind of reminds me of my center, right? It brings me back to center, so I can be what you need, because the reality is you may not be able to satisfy me in this season, because you don't have what I need to satisfy me in this season. I'm not talking physically as much as I'm talking about, you just may not have the capacity to see me. I love you, I trust you, but you don't see me right now. You see work, you see life, you see stress, but you don't see me. And it's in those moments that my love relationship with God, Abba, lands. Let me get that to center, so that we can then communicate, and I still want to love you and you still want to trust me. So that's why it's cyclical. That's why I believe that is what life is, and how life moves, and the worship of existence in our lives. You can't do what God can do for me, and God
Woo.
can't do what you can do for me. This is just, that's not how he built this thing. He built for us to be intimate a certain way and for us to be intimate a certain way. And I think we've just misinterpreted our roles in what belongs where. So yeah.
Leon, I'm telling you, I'm taking you to him. I'm gonna let you come on this coaching call that I got. These
I can't help nobody, let me tell you.
listen,
I got a therapy session. This
if
is all
I
my
can be honest with you, sweetheart, I don't feel like I can help anybody either. However, I have so much lived experience and perspective, and I just want people to win. I just want people to win at
That's right.
relationships.
That's
And
right.
you know, if I don't, I want you to, because I think everybody's journey is different. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Mm-hmm.
don't know our journey sometimes until we get to the end of it, or until we're definitely on it. So,
Yes, yeah.
and I'm on mine. I'm on the right path. And so I believe in having these conversations. I believe we can help to garner and cultivate amazing relationships. So, all right, I know we're gonna wrap up, but listen, I gotta ask you this question. I have so many. Well, I had one. Someone sent in and asked if you were single, and then, ooh, and another one was, why do we make love so complicated?
I'm not available. Trust me, I think it's better for me to protect you from me and me from you.
So
And
I
so
hope y'all hear that.
that's truth. Like, I'm
Real
doing you
talk.
a favor. You're welcome.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, what was the second question?
Why do we make love so complicated?
Because we don't understand the origin of it.
Ooh, yeah.
Love is like a glass of water. Um, you can add sugar and lemon and make lemonade and define love by that lemonade. That's just not what it is. Love is the water. It's the purity of the water. And so out of every situation, what is the core? What is the purity of that space? Sometimes it's our selflessness that's distracting us from seeing what's pure. So we make love complicated because we don't have a consistent origin of it. When we have a consistent origin of it, then we can determine what's not. When we know what black is, then we can determine what brown, blue, red, yellow is. The problem is we don't quite know what black is first. The beauty of black. And if love is black, see what I did there? If love is black, then now we can differentiate between somebody else's augmentation of what pure love is. And we complicate it because we don't have consistency.
Yeah. And we don't know what it takes to get black. Black.
We don't know what it takes to get black.
We
black.
don't know what it takes, but it takes all those colors, all those things to come together to create that color of black. All right. So here is my question. What are the most romantic words you've ever heard or ever spoken? Or what is the most romantic song you've ever sang?
Oh, man.
Leon Timbo.
Most romantic thing. It's a number of them, actually. I'm trying to think which is the most.
Give us one.
I think it's romantic. I think it's romantic when a person says, give me a chance to find where you are, because I admit I don't know and I might be screwing this up. You can get it. If you are willing to acknowledge that there's a part of me and you that you don't get, not that I'm wrong with, not that you're right with, but there's something there, and you're willing to stay until you figure it out. I think that's kind of you can get it zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was the other one? A song I've ever sung?
Yeah, a song ever sang, whether it's yours or someone else's.
There's a number of them. There's a number of them. song by Marvin Winans on his kind of sinner's prayer.
Mm.
It talks about the pain of being the problem, not having the answers. All is fair, Stevie Wonder. Also, another one by Stevie Wonder. What is this song? Keys of Life. It's about the. There's so many guys.
A lot of them.
Right now, I'm listening to an Americana song. Let me see if I can get. Y'all need to know these songs. Hold on. Let me get this together.
Give it to us. Give it to us. Give it to us.
Let me see here. Michael Kiwanuka. I want you to look him up. His album is go-to for me. Kinw.
Is that an African brother or?
Mm-hmm. He's an African brother.
Okay.
He's in the UK.
Okay.
Michael Kiwanuka. And
spell the name for us. Spell the name for us.
Oh, sure. I was spelling it. Say thank you. Huh? K-I-N.
I'm going to find him tonight.
Michael. It is. See, now that y'all got me under Ken Wu.
No pressure.
Right. I'm so pressured. My library. He's definitely in my library. The devil. Hold on. Stay right there.
Okay, I'm not going anywhere.
It's not coming up anymore.
Well, you can always share it at the end and I can make sure.
Okay. I'm still looking at you. If you got any more questions, I'm going.
Yeah. So I do. I have one last one. So you can find your the artist.
Got it.
You got it?
Kiwanuka. Michael Kiwanuka. Listen to his album Home Again.
All right.
Whole album.
Hold on. I gotta get the spelling right. Say it one more time. Kiwanuka.
Thank you. Anuka.
Okay, got it.
He is probably, this Home Again album is probably my most favorite of all time.
Okay.
Of all time.
Does he know that?
I don't know if he does.
It's amazing when an artist really, really loves another living artist.
Listen,
music.
Everybody in my life knows this guy is, he gets it. And there's another song I do want to tell you guys about. My Ego Dies in the End. It's an Americana artist. Her name is Jensen McRae. JENSENMCRAE. That's what I'm listening to right now. So, yeah. There you go.
All right. I love that. So I'm going to check it out. Especially the artist.
Especially Michael. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to him tonight. All right. So before we go, my last question for you is, as it relates to love and or life, okay? Mm-hmm. What is the one thing that you are most certain of?
I'm most certain of the fact that my daughter's love is probably the greatest love I've ever known. I have 3. And I am probably, something about a daughter. you can do almost anything.
Yeah.
I haven't, mind you,
I get it.
but I know of situations where fathers have hurt, forsaken, been away. And there's just something in the heart of a daughter that loves them deeply and unconditionally. I've experienced that. Um, and so that's something that I know. My mom loves me, right? Got it. There's something about a daughter's love. Um, yeah.
You said that and choked me right up because you're right.
Oh
I am a daughter that love loves her father. Even in his absence, I have never felt this presence of love like I have felt for my dad. Um,
yeah.
and I think that for girls and for women that have a good relationship with their dad and have the blessing of having a good father in their life, not a perfect dad, but a good dad, um, it is the most priceless gift on this side of air in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're right. The fact that you can acknowledge it and you know it is beautiful as well. My father used to say, he used to tell me that I know you don't have to love me the way you do.
Mm.
And he would also tell me that he knew he did not deserve it because he didn't do everything right.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
hear my dad, 70, 80 years old, tell me that,
Acknowledged.
he got it. Can I say that?
Yeah.
And so it's beautiful to hear you say that that's the one thing that you're certain of, because I do believe that a daughter's love for her father is richer than gold and diamonds and pearls.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely amazing. So if you're blessed to have that, Leon, you know, congratulations for that. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. And
Yeah.
so you're a lucky guy.
Come on.
And I'm sure that they're lucky to have you in their life as well. I want to share with you my most romantic song. There's thousands of them, but the one that
Isn't there? Right.
there's the one that always jumps out to me. The lyrics is 100 Ways.
Mm.
That song is so simple and so beautiful,
Yeah.
and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
words are perfectly written and very simple.
I want to encourage everybody to buy a record player, find a room, um, and play records and love the moment. If you want to share that moment, um, grow into that space to share that moment, but that moment is not about anybody else. It's about loving you and then expanding that love and inviting someone else into that love space. Um, Slow life down because it won't slow you down. It'll
Yeah.
just stop you, and that'll be your last day. But slow life down so that you can see where love is.
Slow life down so you can see where love is. I love that. I love that. And guess what? I went to Philly and I got my dad's records. I got a whole box. He had like 3 stacks that were probably 3 foot high. And
Something.
it's such a gift. I went in and I got a huge box of them, amazing artists of yesterday. And the gift for myself for this holiday is getting a record player. I saw you with Marvin Gaye's album, and I was tickled because I'm like, we old souls got we got records.
There's something about doing this.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to turn back the clock, and I will be playing my record player. And the real beauty of it is that I'm playing the records that my dad listened to and that he kept all of these years. So I'm so looking forward to that moment. So Leon, tell the people where they can follow you, find you, and listen to you at before we
Hey
wrap up.
guys, thanks for listening. Leon Timbo. You can find me, search Instagram, Facebook, all of that jazz, YouTube even. Whether I'm singing to God or singing some sexy song on some stage, it's always going to be 100%. So Leon Timbo, LeonTimboLove.com if you want my music or want to know what I'm thinking in a moment. And send me a line. Send me a line. Let me know you saw me on the Relationship Zone.
Yeah. All right, guys. So listen, thank you for hanging out with us. Leon, I want you to hang back. I'm going to stop our stream for Facebook. But thank you guys for tuning in and hanging with us tonight. Share this. Go out there. Find Leon Timbo. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Download his music. Let's see. Michael says, I'm driving and hitting dead spots. I absolutely appreciate the gems you wonderful people are giving out. And Queenie, I have an extra record player for you. Yes. Thank you, Mike. I'm gonna hold you to that. So again, just share this. It has been such a treat spending time with you tonight, and you sharing space with me for my birthday month. This is the best gift ever. So thank you so much. Again, to my family out there in Facebook world and YouTube, I want you guys to have a wonderful night, and thank you again for tuning into the Relationship Zone. Leon, hold on one moment.
I guess.
Oh my goodness.